Namaste. Welcome, everyone. My name is Nikki Slade, and I'm delighted to be a part of the Yoga Alliance Professionals Stress Awareness Week. And my favorite practice of all time for de-stressing is Kirtan. What is Kirtan? Kirtan means to sing the name. The name of what, you might ask? The name of the higher self of your own understanding. Kirtan literally is a meditation. It is a meditation where we focus on a mantra, and then we have the vibration, we have musical instruments, all to support us in that inward journey. Many of you may have practiced Kirtan before. For those who haven't, you'll discover it is a very uplifting, heart-opening practice that also cleanses the mind. Kirtan originated from Mother India in 7th century AD with the poet-saint movement. Who were the poet-saints? They were ordinary people just like you and I that happened to spend hours in deep meditation where they touched the bliss of inner consciousness, the bliss of the inner self, and they then wrote poetry describing what they had experienced. And then the gap when they would lose that experience and long to have it back again. And they would go and share their poetry with ordinary people on the streets who perhaps were not welcome because of the caste system in India at the time, into temples. And they said, you don't need a temple, you can find it here in your own heart. The people were overjoyed and they began to sing in the streets, maybe a couple of phrases, a simple phrase from one of the poems like Shri Ram, Jai Ram. And hence, Kirtan emerged as the people's response to the poetry of the poet saints. And here we are, centuries later, in the privilege in the West of enjoying this sublime practice. A modern day saint, in my opinion, was George Harrison from the Beatles, and he used to love chanting. And I just want to read a quote of what he said about this beautiful practice. George said, and I'll endeavor to do a Liverpudlian accent, the response that comes from chanting is in the form of bliss or spiritual happiness, which is a much higher taste than any happiness found here in the material world. That's why I say that the more you do it, the more you don't want to stop, because it feels so nice and peaceful. Dear George, so we are going to have a taste today, a very short taste of Kirtan practice. Typically, the chant would go on for a sustained period of time. But you know, when you're chanting, focus on the mantra to allow you to turn your focus within. If the mind wanders, just bring it back to the vibration of the heart. You may have tingling in the palms of the hands. You may see colors. Whatever your experience, embrace it as perfect, whether tears come, agitation. You know, sometimes I describe the mantra recitation as like a scrubbing brush, cleansing all the veils and barriers between us and remembering the inner self. You know, a great being once said, the self is already attained. There is nothing to get. All we are doing is chanting to remember and re-experience our oneness, our own consciousness with everyone. So we will chant in call and response the great universal mantra, Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya means I bow to or I merge with my true self. So I'll chant Om Namah Shivaya, then you chant Om Namah Shivaya. But because we're in a recording situation, I will chant the response with you. In a face-to-face chant, you would have people around you and you would hear the other voices. So consider that in the response, I will be providing that for you. The mantra will build slowly in rhythm over a few minutes, and then there'll be a moment just to pause at the end. Let's chant Om Namah Shivaya. Here we go. Om Namah Shivaya. Everybody. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Namaste. So that was a short taster of the practice of chanting from the heart, practicing kirtan. And, if you haven't developed a chanting practice on a regular basis yet, I heartily encourage you to. You can chant a little bit in the morning, even just for 5 minutes, as we've just done, or for an extended period. You may be wondering, how can I find an access to chanting? Well, there are now many chanting circles that happen around the country in Kirtan, so you could Google those. Or there are opportunities to chant online. I run a class on Thursday mornings at 8 a.m. and at 7 p.m. through Tri Yoga. I'm also live at Tri Yoga Camden on a Saturday. I also have recordings of many, many chants I've put out over the years, which you can find on iTunes and Spotify, and also through my website. So I heartily encourage you to get on the chanting train. There are all sorts of wonderful kirtan leaders out there, so do research them too. And I hope you have a peaceful and stress-free week. Namaste.